According to the latest official report from the Michigan State Police, a total of 219,765 crimes were reported in the state in 2022. The majority of crimes, about 67%, were property crimes. Explore crime trends in Michigan's major cities. 10. Flint. Flint's total crime rate is 176.2% higher than the national average. This translates to roughly 21.57 crimes per day, split between 13.7 violent crimes and 8.87 property crimes, while the violent crime rate is 292.7% higher than the national average. The property crime rate is 3.1% higher. Flint's violent crime rate was 2,030 per 100,000 residents in 2023, significantly higher than the national average of 379. This places it among the most dangerous cities in the United States. This translates to a 1 in 49 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime. Flint residents face 3% higher risk of property crime than the average American, with 1,608 incidents per 100,000 residents compared to the national rate of 1,570. This translates to a 1 in 62 chance of becoming a victim of property crime. 9. Troy. Troy boasts a violent crime rate 48.1% higher than the national average, and a property crime rate 22.9% higher. This translates to a mere 16.85 crimes per day, with 5.28 violent crimes and 11.57 property crimes on average. According to Area Vibes, there were 2,914 property crimes reported in 2023, translating to a rate of 2,570 per 100,000 residents. This is 92.9% higher than the national average. Larceny theft and motor vehicle theft dominate the scene, constituting a majority of reported incidents. 8. Livonia. Livonia's overall crime rate is 145.2% higher than the national average and 67.8% higher than the state average. This translates to roughly 25 daily crime incidents, of which 7.63 are violent and 17.42 are property-related. Livonia's violent crime rate is 33.8% higher than the national average, and 45.2% higher than the state average. This translates to roughly 7.63 violent crimes per day. Livonia's violent crime rate was 1,970 per 100,000 residents in 2023, significantly higher than the national average of 379. Compared to Michigan, Livonia's property crime rate is higher, exceeding the state's average by 91.7%. This means a Livonia resident has a 1 in 32 chance of being a victim, compared to 1 in 65 for a Michigander. The most frequent property crime in Livonia is larceny, encompassing theft of personal belongings, shoplifting, and other forms of non-violent stealing. 7. Dearborn. Dearborn generally boasts a crime rate 205.2% lower than the United States average. This translates to roughly 32.5 daily crime occurrences, with 9.83 violent crimes and 22.64 property crimes on average. Violent crime is 78% higher, and property crime is 225% higher than the state average. Property crimes are somewhat more common, with a 1 in 29 chance of being a victim. This refers to theft, vehicle theft, and burglary. Dearborn's violent crime rate is 83.8% higher than the national average, with a 1 in 75 chance of being a victim. It's crucial to remember that Dearborn's overall crime rate masks variations across different neighborhoods. Some areas experience significantly lower or higher rates than the city average. 6. Lansing. Lansing, the capital of the state, has a complex relationship with crime. Lansing's overall crime rate is higher than the national average, with 52.78 crimes per 1,000 residents compared to the national average of 27.08. The violent crime rate in Lansing is higher than the national average, with 16.21 crimes per 1,000 residents compared to the national average of 3.98. This translates to a 1 in 62 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime. The property crime rate in Lansing is also higher than the national average, with 45.57 crimes per 1,000 residents compared to the national average of 35.46. This translates to a 1 in 22 chance of becoming a victim of property crime. Larceny theft is the most common property crime, followed by burglary and motor vehicle theft. 5. Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor's crime rate is 213% higher than the United States average. This translates to roughly 36.68 crimes per day, with 9.02 violent crimes and 27.67 property crimes. Compared to the national average, Ann Arbor boasts a higher rate of violent crime of 22.9%. This translates to roughly 1,954 violent crimes per 100,000 residents, compared to the national average of 357. In 2023, Ann Arbor reported 6,571 property crimes. This includes thefts, burglaries, and vehicle thefts. Looking at specific types of crimes, the rate of burglaries sits at 18.5 per 1,000 residents, larceny theft at 31.6, and motor vehicle theft at 12.3. The most common type of property crime in Ann Arbor, accounting for over half of all incidents. This includes shoplifting, bicycle theft, and purse snatching. 4. Sterling Heights. Compared to the national average, Sterling Heights boasts a 241% higher crime rate. This translates to an average of just 44.98 daily crimes per 100,000 residents, significantly higher than many other cities. Violent crime rates are particularly impressive, ranking as the lowest among Michigan communities with populations over 100,000, with 2,254 incidents in 2023. This translates to a 1 in 44 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime. Compared to other large Michigan cities, Sterling Heights comes out on top in terms of property crime. Its rate is significantly higher than nearby cities like Dearborn, Ann Arbor, and Warren. The overall property crime rate is about 4,898 per 100,000 residents, approximately 1 in 20 residents. This is roughly 260% higher than the national average, and 192% higher than the state average. Larceny theft is the most common type of property crime in Sterling Heights, followed by burglary and motor vehicle theft. 3. Warren. Warren's total crime rate sits 378% lower than the national average. This translates to roughly 60 daily crimes per 100,000 residents, with 20.84 violent incidents and 39.23 property-related offenses. The violent crime rate in Warren surpasses the national average by 332.1%. This translates to 2,789 violent crimes per 100,000 residents, compared to the national average of 371.4. This translates to a 1 in 35 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime. Conversely, property crime rates in Warren are higher than the national average by 515.2%. This translates to 8,658 property crimes per 100,000 residents, compared to the national average of 1,949.3. 2. Grand Rapids. Compared to the national average, Grand Rapids' overall crime rate is significantly higher. Area Vibes reports it at 471% higher, with 71.47 crimes occurring daily, split into 25.28 violent crimes and 44.2 property crimes. Grand Rapids' property crime rate is roughly 544% higher than the national average, translating to about 9,006 incidents per 100,000 residents in 2020. Larceny, including theft, is the most common property crime, accounting for about 63% of all incidents. Burglary rates are also higher than the national average, with around 25.7 burglaries per 1,000 housing units. 1. Detroit. Detroit's crime rate is significantly higher than the national average, both for violent and property crimes. In 2022, the city's violent crime rate was 60.9 per 100,000 residents, compared to the national average of 379.0. Detroit's property crime rate remains significantly higher than the national average. In 2023, it stood at 10,478 incidents per 100,000 residents, translating to a roughly 1 in 10 chance of being a victim. Larceny theft is the most common property crime in Detroit, followed by burglary and motor vehicle theft. The city has also seen a rise in package theft. particularly with the increasing popularity of online shopping deliveries. In 2022, the city's violent crime rate was 1,260.9 per 100,000 residents, compared to the national average of 379.0.